Okay, nature has forced my hand. I have spent the morning building a pop-up spray booth. I can't take all the credit because Caroline helped me. We've got a gazebo that I've lined completely with plastic sheeting. We've created, hopefully, a space in which I can keep the weather off, and more importantly, keep the flies off. We've got the trestle there to put the tank on, so I can theoretically seal myself in here. I have used fly spray and killed off pretty much every single living creature in this space, so hopefully we won't get anything stuck into our paintwork. And I can leave this up for a couple of days or even a week if need be, so long as we don't have any gale force winds. This should give us the space we need. It's kind of been reinforced. I've used this sort of pallet shrink wrap to create like a series of strengtheners around the outside. It's a very inexpensive way of doing it. But obviously I haven't actually tried spraying in here yet. That's the wall that's unreinforced. You can see how billowy it is, so I'm going to peg that down at the corners by the door when I'm in here. Obviously I don't have the benefit of the air carrying the fumes away so much in here, so I'm going to have to be double careful, make sure my mask is fitted properly. But yeah, we're kind of sealed in here. It should keep the rain off, and it's quite lucky because we've just had a bit of a downpour, but it's still dry in here. So yeah, anyway, this is the makeshift spray booth. And hopefully the light will be good enough in here as well. Right, the spray booth has been a success from the point that I've managed to keep contamination away from the tanks and away from the plastics. It's been a much more pleasant experience, less rushed, less worry about the various bits and pieces sticking to them. I had a little issue where I think I had too much paint coming out the gun on the first coat, which when it was wet looked very orange peely, but actually now it's dried down it looks pretty good. It looks like there might be the odd little nib here and there, but nothing to worry about, nothing like before. All the squashed flies and so on that got rubbed out of the tank after the first attempt have all gone. There's one bit of fluff, which luckily is, I don't know if you can see it, maybe looking down. There's a little bit of fluff just on this bit here, which I'm pretty sure will just smudge off once it's dried properly, so I'm not concerned about that. So yeah, I think this is as good as I'm going to get with the base coat on the first attempt. I'm starting to see where the light hits it as it's diffused in here. I'm starting to see some of the few imperfections that I didn't quite get with the filler, which is interesting. But like I said, this is the first attempt with base and clear. It's if you're not a sprayer, this is probably as good as I'm likely to ever get it. So but it's been interesting this afternoon. It's been interesting from the point of view that I had a bit more time to play with the gun and to get a feel for what the base coat was like going on. Once I dialed back on the amount of paint coming on and slowed down and panicked a little less, it was a much more pleasant experience. And I'm pleased with my booth. The transparent sides are quite good for setting up the gun. This was set up here a little bit thinner. I think in the end we ended up around about here. So yeah, no, I'm pleased with that. It was a good learning curve. The only downside of this booth, I have to say, is the fact that the fumes do build up in here, and even with my twin respirator mask you can start to smell the fumes, so you can only spend a limited amount of time in here. So today it is first application of base coat. I've not tried this before. The first coat I'm going to do is the underside of the tank, just to get a feel for it, and secondly to protect the under edges where the fuel might eventually drip off should you have a spillage. So that'll give me hopefully a feel of what the consistency is like and what the coverage is like, and if we're going to make a mistake, hopefully it'll be underside of the tank rather than the top side of the tank. And if all goes well, we'll then move on to onto doing the top sides of the tanks and the rest of the plastics. So wish me luck. Four coats of gloss clear coat later, and I'm pretty confident that we've covered pretty much all of it in a nice thickish layer of clear coat. It is far from perfect. There is evidence of orange peel in there, and there are what look like either heavy drops or possibly air bubbles, or maybe just bits of stuff in it. You can just see it on the corner there, one of them. But I'm quite confident that because it's kind of a heavier coat, I'm pretty sure I can flatten this down once it's been allowed to cure for a week or so. Let the clear coat harden up and then deal with the imperfections. The other parts as well, actually not bad. Again, a little bit of orange peel. I'm not sure how precious I'm going to be about these parts, as they're going to be lower down on the bike. They're going to have stickers on, or lamps or tail lights attached to them, but we'll have a look at them once I can handle them in a day or two. We'll have a proper look and see what's what. So yeah, you can see in the middle of that panel actually there's a slight defect in the plastic. Yeah, so that's our first clear coat experience. I have to say it wasn't exactly fun, but it wasn't awful either, and it'll be interesting to see how well this tidies up. Obviously the little bumps and lumps in there definitely have to come out, because they're very obviously a defect. But I think if we can flatten it back with some very fine wet and dry and then polish, and we don't go through the clear coat, we should be okay. Anyway, first attempt. I was never going to be an expert. I think this is probably the worst side. You can see a few of the little imperfections. It's almost like the spray gun had a bit of a fart and threw out a few bits and pieces. Anyway, I'll bring you back once this has dried out properly.